This is my final individual learning celebration PowerPoint for my human sexuality class, also known as ASHD 201, which is instructed by Professors John and Linda. And the course description for that class is that it's an introductory survey of the educational, psychological, and emotional dimensions of human sexuality, with emphasis on the socio-culture factors involved in intimate relating sexuality and loving. And as you can see, the image I chose, the person has a confused face, as just by reading the course description, I really didn't know what the class was going to be about. And my original course expectations. After reading the course description, I didn't know what to expect and didn't really understand it that well. I initially thought that the class would be about sex and all the different sexualities. I also thought that this class would briefly talk about these topics, and I was originally scared about what I would learn. And you can see by the image I have here that I have a scared face and a confused face. My course expectations continued. I thought Professors John and Linda would take turns teaching. I didn't think that they'd actually be teaching it together all the time. And I thought it would be like every other sex ed class, as I thought it'd be similar to the health class I took in 7th grade. The major insights I've learned. Terminology is one topic I've learned a lot about. And an example of some terminology is the term demisexual, how it means that it is a heart connection first and you have to get to know the person first. Also that there's health benefits brought by having an orgasm, and some of those health benefits are that it boosts your immune system, you live a longer life, and you get better sleep. And another thing I learned is that sex ed delays sex, and that there's different forms of consent needed, and some examples are that some consent doesn't mean consent to all. Some more major insights I've learned is that a marriage doesn't mean automatic consent. And I've also learned about compatibility and how to leave a relationship. An example of that is to be clear and to not rush into another relationship, and that you have to accept that it will hurt for a while. I've also learned that shaving your pubes is not healthy, as it can expose you to different bacterias and you're more open to STDs. And also that bras actually weaken your muscles in your chest, and it's better to wear a sports bra. Lastly, what I've learned was that tampons were initially invented in World War I to stop bleeding of bullet wounds, and that females should have pleasure in sex as well, and not just the men. An example of that is that many women fake their orgasms. And lastly, that blowing air into a vagina can result in death. My expected future and personal next steps is that with being more informed on these topics of sex and sexualities, I can now answer my future students' questions regarding this. I will now be able to engage in conversations relating to sex and sexualities and also give advice, and I can now properly educate my future kids when they become of age to be informed on. And lastly, I can answer any sexuality myths. And my last slide is an original meme, and it's when you come to the realization that you can't always have John and Linda as professors, and then there's a sad face of myself.